and welcome. You are listening to At Home with Ifeno. Here, we'll talk about helping women know and understand their worth, find fulfillment in who they are, and in what they do. Every other week, we'll talk about your identity as a woman, discovering your unique purpose, intentionally raising the next generation, and your influence in homemaking. I am your host, Ifoma Nneka Omoni. Hello, and welcome to another time on At Home with Ifeno. I'm so excited today. I don't know how to express the way I feel, but don't worry, you understand. Today, I'm not alone, even though I'm never alone. Do you know, on this show? Even when I'm here to do a solo episode without any guest, I'm not alone because God is here with me. But today, I have a VIP. I mean it. I don't flatter people. She is a VIP. And she's a VIP because this particular episode is I don't know what to say, is a special one. This particular episode is celebrating, and you know what? Nothing happens by coincidence. Yes. This episode is to celebrate all the mothers in the house. So if you're a mother, just start, giving yourself a beautiful pat, sit down comfortably, get that seat, your tea, water, coffee, wherever you are, and give us your listening attention, because this episode is dedicated to all our mothers, whether they are now grandmothers, whether they are mother-in-laws, or all those that we call mothers. This episode is dedicated to them. And my guest is going to make us see from a different perspective that many of us have never seen before. I believe that I am also ready to take down notes and to have a shift in my paradigm of what motherhood is all about. This weekend, we're also celebrating mothers, and our guest, she told me something, and I said it's not a coincidence. She too, this weekend is her birthday. Can you imagine? I didn't know until I told her that this episode is coming up, and she was like, wow, we must make it happen. So before I welcome my guest, I just want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are joining us. Don't mind my manners. I was so excited that I didn't even greet you people. So please take your sweet spot, sit down comfortably, and if you're on your way driving out, please just give us your listening attention. Focus on where you're going to. You're taking care of the children. Don't worry, they will soon fall asleep. My guest had to do something similar for her to be on this before she could come on this show. Her baby woke up suddenly and she had to pat him back to sleep. That's one of the joys or beauties of motherhood, which we are going to be talking about today. So I just want to read a little part of my guest bio before I call her up, and will give her a warm At Home with Ifeno welcome. So my guest is Ugonne Ann Okonkwo. She's a Nigerian-born writer, educator, coach, and the author of the bestselling book, The Birthing: How to Partner with God for Your Children, Your Vision, and Your Nation. Wow, this is beyond a book. This is going to be a manual for living as a mother. In less than 18 months of motherhood, Ugonne went from a place of confusion, unproductivity, and misalignment into a God-led transformational journey of the visionary life. A journey of self-discovery and purpose that unleashed her multidimensional expressions. She is on a mission to raise visionary mothers, young women who will partner with God to birth His vision and purpose for their lives per season. I'll end there and I'll say, please let's welcome our guest, Ugonne Ann Okonkwo, to At Home with Ifeno. You're welcome.
It's so good to hear from you, Ifoma. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for that warm welcome. It's a privilege being here. And I'm super excited.
I am. I think I'm more excited than you. Wow. How are you, Ugonne?
I'm fine. I'm really, really well. It's been a tough past 2 months, but it's been a joyful one because I've been on the move with my boys. But yeah, it's been a fun time. It's been a fun time, and I'm very well. Thank you for asking.
It's so good to hear from you. I know it's been a journey, how I got in contact with you. I see it as not accidental, and we are
Yes.
finally here today, and I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited because I believe today's episode should be listened to even by those that are not yet mothers, because there is a paradigm of motherhood that we need to paint the proper narrative. And in this episode, I know that you're going to be vulnerable, you're going to share relatable experiences that mother that is thinking, oh, what have I gotten myself into? She will have a change of heart, she will have a change of attitude,
Amen.
and she will begin to see things from God's perspective. So I welcome you once again, and I say thank you. Now, reading your bio, I read just a little part of her bio, my dear listeners. Her bio is longer than that, but I want her to get into the conversation. So I read that part particularly because, and interestingly, my questions for Ugonne had already scribbled down my questions before I even got her bio. So when I saw her bio, I said, wow, this person is just the right person, because she has come through a journey of confusion, of unproductivity. When they think motherhood is just you sleep, you breastfeed the baby, you wash clothes, you cook. I've been there. Ifeno has been there. That was also what inspired this podcast platform. And Ugonne has also been on a similar one, but I'm sure she has unique experiences, which she will share some with us today. So Ugonne, my first question is, what is motherhood? And our topic for this episode is actually the beauty of motherhood. Some people might not see any beauty in motherhood, the beauty of motherhood. But before we go into that beauty, what is motherhood?
That's such a deep question, because thinking about it, motherhood to me, in its truest and in its purest form, is actually divine partnership. It's partnership with God. It is a journey of vision. It is a journey that you're saying yes to God. I'm a person of faith, and I know that you are. When you look into the scriptures, you will see that all the stories and all the people that are surrounding, all the people that are mothers in the Bible, is always, there's something big. There is something that God is seeing, and He's inviting each and every one of them to come into that journey, and inviting them into partnership to birth something, powerful, to birth something, to be a part of the thing that He is actually doing on the earth at the time. So for me, that's motherhood. Motherhood is partnership with God. It's partnership with God in its truest sense.
Wow. Partnership with God. So motherhood is not just that I just want to, have pleasure with my partner, and then at the end of the day we just get pregnant and we have the baby. It's beyond that. So from what you are saying is that even beyond couples, having pleasure, you are saying that God has a plan. Because for it to be a divine partnership, it means that it's not accidental. Even when people say, my parents had me accidentally, but from what you are saying, you are telling us that there's no accidental child. From God's own perspective, He's saying that I will allow this seed to come through these two people. And interestingly, my parents were not married when my mother got pregnant. That's another interesting thing.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you seeing that?
Yes, I'm telling you, my parents were not married, as in they were doing this boyfriend girlfriend thing. And sorry to deviate. I have even shared it on an episode, that I tagged "Don't discard God's answer." I was referring that to myself, that I thank God that my parents didn't discard me. I thank God I wasn't aborted, because my father went and met my mother, and they had fun in quotes, and he left for youth service, and immediately he left, my mother discovered that she was pregnant. And initially she was confused, because she didn't even know how to. That time there was no phone or whatever. She didn't reach out to him. But one thing she said was that she made up her mind that no matter what, even if he didn't own up to the pregnancy, that she was going to keep this baby. Yes. So if I want to follow it, some people will say, my parents didn't even plan me and everything like that. But from what you have said motherhood is partnership. So the big question is, are we going to agree with that partnership with God?
Exactly. Exactly. There is no single human being. I genuinely believe this with all my heart, that because you see that he said that before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Even in the case of rape, even in the case of the worst cases, every single person that came into this earth was intentional. He said children are arrows. It was a strategic thing. Maybe the situation that you came into is not perfect, but that you are here, my God, there's a powerful reason why you are here. But the moment you mentioned abortion, I also remembered my own story, because I live in China. For those that don't really know, I've been living here since 2015, and I had my first son in China. And in China, it's okay. Abortion is fine. Abortion is legal. It's not a big deal. So when I got pregnant, and then during my antenatal and everything, they started to discover that there was something in my son's chest that they felt like it might be a problem, it might be an issue later on. And they just casually, like literally very casually, suggested to me that it's okay if you would like to abort him. That is fine. I think he was 5 months old at the time. Wow. After we did the 3D scan, that if it's something that will become an issue, that it's fine if you want to abort him. Like, I should go and discuss with my husband. It's okay. And I was very surprised, because I'm coming from, where we're coming from. Abortion is such a big deal. You don't just casually tell people to abort their children. And this is my first child.
Yeah.
He was not even a fetus anymore. Like, I could see him. That's 3D scan is when you see the eyes. Exactly. But you see that, thinking back, my motherhood, giving birth to my first son, Zite, literally turned my life around. Like, it changed everything. His name is Chiziterem. Chiziterem in Igbo means God sent me. He was sent here. And I believe that for every single person on earth, there is a reason why you are sent. And is that partnership with God, and that walk with God that will help us to really discover the genuine and real purpose why we are here. So yeah, that's motherhood.
Thank you so much. So someone might say, Ugonne, I know, yes, partnership, we bring forth children and everything, but there's a lot of challenges. I'm just trying to voice out what my listeners can be saying, including myself. Sometimes some people feel that, when you finish the toddler stage of motherhood, you are enjoying. I say no, every stage, even the teenage age, is unique. As in, he has his own peculiar challenges that you are going to be dealing with the children. So,
Yes.
how can people see the beauty in motherhood? And how can they find joy in the midst of the challenges of motherhood?
Well, I think that, you know how they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, right? I think that to see beauty is actually really about perspective. If it's the way that you view things. Let me give you an example that just quickly comes to my mind. So because we live here, I was recently at home, and one thing that was very obvious to me when I went this time, that because I haven't been to Nigeria in the past 7 years, so when I went home this time, one thing that was very clear and obvious to me is that everybody has help. Like even people that are not rich or people that don't have a lot of money still have like
someone to assist
someone
them.
Someone at home. And for the longest time, because of where we are, it's very easy. It was very easy for me to feel like I'm overwhelmed. I don't have help, to whine about it, because I had my 2 children. I didn't have the privilege of a mogul or or any of that.
I can imagine.
That I did most of the things. I was figuring it out along the way. But let me tell you what that has done for me. There is, like, I've come to say it in the way that the beauty of it is that there's such a bond and such a closeness that I'm growing into, and just really seeing that I have with my kids. Even this time that I went home, it was so clear to me, because there is no third party. Do you get? Like there is, and God knows I'm an advocate for help. Like, if you can find help, please get help. But instead of me seeing that, oh my God, I am helpless, this is too overwhelming, I've actually come to appreciate the way that my relationship with my kids are at this time, because there was no one else in between. And I know everything that is going on. I see the progress myself. Literally, if I'm hearing any language from my son's mouth, I can tell you where it's coming from. because it's either this or that, because I'm like, it's all in front of me. Do you get? So it's all about perspective. Beauty is all about perspective. Beauty is the way that you see things. The way, if you start to see those things, even the things that are challenging, trust me, it's hard sometimes. It's very, very hard. I know there are those days. There are those days that I'm like, I'm tired. One of the reasons why I went home, one of the biggest reasons why I went home was because, apart from the fact that I haven't been home in a long time, my parents, my grandparents, and just a lot of things to do, it was also, I also had this at the back of my mind, that when I get home, I'm just going to shove this. I will rest, my sister. I'm just going to shove these kids in the hands of everybody and rest. Do you know that it dawned on me? It dawned on me that this rest I am looking for. And funny thing is that it was a scripture that made it clear to me, because when we got home, the challenges of the children, the change in environment, especially for my 1-year-old, now made him clingier than before. At least before, I had my husband to give him to. This time, my husband didn't go with us. It was just the 3 of us.
So, wow.
So there was no one to give him to. So it was even a little bit more
work.
Work,
because they're not familiar with the other faces.
Exactly. So they needed time to get used to other people, and it was more work. And then God just it was a teaching moment for me, because that scripture about finding rest. Take my burden is easy and my burden is light. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Yes, that scripture. The Holy Spirit now helped me to see that. You cannot find rest, even in motherhood, outside of anywhere. It's still me. You come to me, and I would help you. I would take that burden, whatever it is. And there was a whole lot of just personal teaching from that experience, knowing that my rest is actually in God and not in anywhere else that I'm thinking that I'll find rest. So I know that we're talking about beauty, but yeah, the beauty is for me is in the eyes of the beholder, and the eyes is perspective, is the way that you see. Beauty is about growth, is about just change. You can see beauty in change, in growth, and all of that. You will see it happen in motherhood. Motherhood, there is growth happening. There is change happening. There is so much happening in motherhood, and you can find beauty even in the midst of all the chaos that could be going on.
Wow. What a beautiful story. So you ended up not even resting as you were thinking you would rest. But like you said, it's about our perspective. And I agree with you. You know, there are times when I look at my children, I just go to the album because I took pictures of, as they were getting 1 month, like that. I was using my phone until maybe 1 year before when I went to the studio. So, and now sometimes I just flip through the pages of the album, and I'll just be smiling, I'll be laughing, because it will make me remember some things, even I have some videos of my children when they were singing much younger, and when they hear it, they'll be like, who is this? I said it's them. They will be like, no. I said you are the one now.
Exactly.
So when you were saying there's a lot of growth going on, and it's about our perspective. So this topic, the beauty of motherhood, we could also say, based on what Ugonne is telling us, that it's about the perspective of motherhood. And it's my prayer that mother that might think, I had to sacrifice all my career or something like that, or I don't even have time for myself. It's about our perspective, and Ugonne has come to encourage us to say, don't worry, it's for us to see it. So I think we need to change our lens, the lens we are using to look at this season of our lives. Thank you so much, Ugonne. Thank you. So
to just add a little bit more to that, because this is something that I really wrote about in the first section of my book, The Birthing. It was about mindset shifts that I had to make, even for myself, for motherhood, because believe it or not, I know the usual story or the usual narrative is for a lot of people, and I understand and respect that, is that there are a lot of people that are trying to find children, are looking for children, are believing God for children. But I got married in 2014 and I had my first child 5 years later in 2019. And you would think that, okay, it's because I was looking for children. To be honest, we were not actually. We were not. It was at the time, because my husband was a student at the time. The thing that we were thinking was, okay, he had to finish school before we start anything. We start anything children. And that makes sense, right? That makes sense. But underneath that, it was, that the beautiful thing about having a relationship with God is that he just uncovers you to yourself. So underneath that was actually a deep fear. A deep fear. I was scared of being a mother for the longest time. I was scared of being a mother because I felt like, my life is going to be over. Everything I was, you know how it's just like
you have plans.
You have plans, And it wasn't immediately become a mother. That's the end of it. Your whole life is just subjected to taking care of children. I felt like oblivion is my destiny the moment motherhood comes. But I had to do a personal, that godly journey in that sense. And he started to just open me up to people, to understanding, to the scriptures, to mentors and teachers that just started to show me that this motherhood thing is not putting a pause on your dreams. If anything, it's actually like a dress rehearsal for fulfilling your own purpose and destiny. It's the whole stages of birthing and having a child and carrying a child to full term is similitude to a lot of things in our lives,
to our visions and plans,
to our visions and our plans. And he just started to teach me these things, and I saw it play out in my own life the moment I started having children. So yeah, it's all about mindsets, perspectives, and just having the shifts by the grace of God, really.
Okay, so Ugonne, thank you so much for this paradigm shift of the beauty of motherhood. So can you share any practical or relatable personal experience to encourage a new mother that just had a baby, or someone that, you are one guest that you are a second guest that told me that she didn't look forward to motherhood, though she was dodging it, as in, and boom.
Are you serious?
And boom, the baby came, and she was like, oh my God, what kind of journey is this? So can you just share something that will encourage, whether it's a new mother or even a mother that is raising a teenager and is feeling, oh my God, what kind of problem is this? I think you will be talking to me in that one, because I just said this teenage age now, what for this season of teenage children, so
Wow.
Can you just share something that would encourage mothers still on this beauty, that we need to see it from another perspective? So I'll allow you to share with us.
To be honest, for me, I have a 4-year-old now and a 1-year-old. And the thing with, so for everybody has a very personal, unique journey and experiences with motherhood, right? And for me, I feel like motherhood was a door opener in that sense, because prior to having my first child in 2019, I was a teacher. I was just doing my stuff. I was an educator here. I teach ESL, English as a Second Language, to kids. And I was just going. It was until, how motherhood is like a disruption, right? It was like a disruption, but you would think that it's a disruption that is going to happen like in a bad way, in that sense. And for some people, and that's why I was thinking about, or just feeling like I didn't want to have children. But it was a good disruption for me, because I had an 18-month maternity leave. And it was in that time that I had in the midst of just, doing breastfeeding and just being focused on the child and all of that season, that I got to really have perspective and to really evaluate and think about my life and even draw closer to God in that sense and figure out, like, what do I really want and where am I headed, And it was in that season that it was in that time and just that, in that disruption, that I started to see, okay, that there is more. There is more. There is so much more to me. See, I'm not the kind of, I'm my natural self, my BC Ugonne. I'm naturally not the type of person that you would invite to be on a podcast or to speak, or I'm just a slow, carefree. Ouch. couch potato-ish, Netflix and chill-ish kind of chick. And I'm at best average in that sense. All my life, I have been, I'm the kind of person that will be in, when they give grades, A, B, C, I'm C. I'm C. You will not see me at the lowest, but you will not see me at the best. But it was motherhood and just stepping into this space that I started to ask questions and started to just really think and talk and go on this journey of partnership and being strengthened. All this like being carefree and careless, and there was a time I used to struggle with sleep and I feeling like I have a lot of time in my it was motherhood that disrupted that one forever. There's like, what is sleep? What is sleep? Sleep as in you take control of sleep because the child will not even let you sleep. So you now have to manage your sleep, and it was such a shift for me, but it was a good shift that helped me to discover, because everything that you know about yourself today is actually not all there is to know about you. There is so much more. There is so much more, and it's different events that happen in your life that bring out that depth, the things that are inside of you that you didn't know. And for me, it may not be for everybody, but motherhood did that to some extent for me. I started to see some strength, some things that I could handle. My pain, my pressure threshold just enlarged. My capacity became a bit more because like I said, I didn't have a lot of help. So I had to do a lot of things and figure a lot of things by myself. And it just really helped me. And I started to see that is a superpower. You see this womb that we have, this womb that God has given us, is a superpower. And it's just a matter of your eyes being open to see what you carry. And like this thing that we have is we are natural visionaries in that sense. And we can, and I'm such a big fan of vision and just partnership with God, because that's what it took. In the midst of becoming a mother, God introduced me into the concept of vision. So I went from this person that didn't even know, prior to motherhood, right? Back in 2017, I started a blog post. I started a blog. And in starting that blog, I was super excited. I had people that I was going to, we were gingered. It was supposed to be a group blog. Can you believe that in all of that year, with all the strength and everything I tried, I only was able to write 4 blog posts in the whole year. But
it's not only you, that's a lot. With children and family.
I know, but fast forward to just like 2 or 3 years later, right? 2019, this was 2017, 2019. After having my child, I started a YouTube channel.
Wow.
From starting a YouTube channel, I started a podcast, and in the midst of that, I wrote this book, The Birthing. And it just really opened me up to a lot more. From there, I started a coaching business. I became a support coach at my mentor's coaching company, Immerse. It was just really, I looked at myself and the only thing that I can see that helped me go from just that person that couldn't even write up to 5 blog posts in a year to this person that is just launching and just showing up and trying to do a lot more stuff is actually vision. And that was what motherhood helped me to come into that place of vision. And that's why I really want to encourage any woman that is feeling like this season of my life, I feel like there's nothing much. I'm just breastfeeding. You don't even know the difference between day and night anymore. The days are just blurry. don't look down on this season. There are countless stories, there are countless examples of people that it was in this season that God plunged them into more of themselves. I have I have a sister and a friend. I don't know if you know her, Ezia Habolaji Olojo. It was even in motherhood. It was in the season of motherhood because she had to pack up her career because of motherhood. But it was in that season of just she got fat and just became, couldn't handle the challenges and just looking down on herself. But it was in that season that God really pushed her into more of herself. And today she's such an amazing woman, a fitness coach and a writer. She's launching a book soon. She's just such an inspiring woman. And it was motherhood. It was motherhood that helped her in that sense to also open her up to catch a compelling vision for her own life, that she lost weight and she's helping a lot of women to also lose weight. And that's the same for me. And that's why I'm passionate about just women, especially mothers, coming into that space of seeing it beyond what it is right now. There is so much more. It is such a beautiful season. And it's when you say yes to this season and stop feeling negative about it, that God will, and then surrender it to God, and God will make something out of it. It may not be writing a book. It may not be, you will find your own thing even in that season. That's what I would encourage.
Wow. So Ugonne just explained or shared with us how motherhood has impacted on her sense of self and identity. So she has said that her identity was not just restricted to the actual birthing of children, but this motherhood season of her life brought her into discovering more of herself, more of the things that she never even knew she could do. And when she was saying it, I was smiling to myself, because even me, when I wrote my first book not so long ago, and after reading the book, I said, am I the one that wrote this thing? As in,
girl, tell me about it. I still feel the same way about my book.
I was like, I looked at it, I read it, and I was even saying, I'm not telling you to read the book because I wrote it, but even me, I still go back to the book. It's like a manual that keeps reminding you of not forgetting who you are, and spurring you to know that you are moving and evolving, and your life has not come to a stop just because you partnered with God. So I see this episode for women, whether you are already having children or you are yet to have that. Don't be afraid of the season of motherhood. There is beauty in motherhood. I see from what Ugonne is saying is that there is discovery in this disruption. There's discovery. I'm taking notes. So I said discovery in disruption. So that thing that looks like it might not even be even this baby thing we're talking about. So something just happens. You never planned it, So she's teaching us that we should calm down and see beyond what we are experiencing now. Because in that disruption or that sudden interjection of, we have plans, goals. By this time, I should have done this. I should have become a doctor, a PhD holder. And God is saying, my dear, calm down. And we now discover more about ourselves. So it doesn't end. So she just shared with us, and I'm really enjoying it because I was smiling as I was writing. But one thing I just got is that there is discovery of yourself in your disruption.
The disruption. I love how you put it.
Discovery in your disruption. Don't take it for granted and don't push it aside, and see it from the perspective of God. See that there is something good, even in the midst of the challenging season of your life as a mother. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So I would like you to help us see, how can mothers prioritize their well-being without feeling guilty? Because many times it looks like, so sometimes we now, as a mother, we grow and we now say, okay, this is what my season is like now, and we continue, and then unconsciously it's like we are not taking care of ourselves now. Yes. So how can you help mothers prioritize their well-being and not feel guilty? Because sometimes, even when you are offered opportunities to, take a break or something, some of us will say, no, don't worry, I'm okay. But deep down, and then at the end of it, maybe at the later stage of being mothers or whatever, we now see this bitter part of some of us, as mothers. It might not happen. It might not happen to us because we now have more information, but some of our mothers are now feeling that, oh, I did everything for you people, yet now it's like you people have forgotten. So how can mothers prioritize their well-being as they continue in this journey of motherhood and not feel guilty that it's okay to take a trip and the house will not burn down, when at least your children, once your children are not toddlers and there's something you need to do, maybe you can get in someone to help. So how can mothers have this at the front burner of their journey, to know that their well-being is not something that they should feel guilty about?
Okay, so I'm going to say just a few things, because you know this phrase about when people say lion no dey born good, lion no dey born good, in that sense. So there are three things, there are three ways that I'm saying it. It's important for you to prioritize you along this journey, because do you know that the season where your child needs you as mother, in the sense of breastfeeding and and all those very 24/7 looking at them, that season is the shortest time that is shortest compared to any other season. Yes. So there are times when there are seasons when they need you as like the way that I am right now. You're constantly breastfeeding, you're watching them, you're making sure that they are safe. That season. But there are other times when they need you as a mentor.
Yeah.
There are other times they will need you as a teacher. There are other times they will need you as different things, and you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot, as in your children. This is one of the biggest reasons why I'm big on personal development and growth, because you will not birth what you are not.
Yes.
So if you are going to if you want children that are powerful, awesome, extraordinary, world changers, whatever you want, you actually have to, at some level, become that yourself, so that you can pour that into them as well. And that is why you need to make sure that you would take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't. You can't. I know that is hard, especially in the early stages, like in different seasons. But look at it this way, that they will need you in some other forms in the future. So you have to invest in yourself, invest in taking care of yourself, invest in the way that you look, the way that you talk, the way that you invest in the woman that you want to become. Invest in that woman so that you can show up in the future and not become these examples that you just gave, the bitter, angry mother-in-law, because you felt like you needed to pause your whole life for your children. And the reason why we feel like we need to pause our whole lives at many times is actually because we don't prioritize, or we don't pay attention to systems and structures. Let me tell you, there is nothing that is almost there. Is it going to be hard? Of course. Is it going to be difficult? Of course. But if you take time to just systemize pay close attention to as you're doing the things that you're doing, your normal, everyday, mundane things, to put structure, to put professionalism into your life, your domestic life. As you pay close attention to this, it will give you room and space in your life to just really pay attention to your own personal self without feeling like you are not doing enough for your children. See, mommy guilt is real, and is every one of us, everybody. As long as your mother, you will go through it.
Yeah.
You will go through it. There is never a time that there's always going to be a time when you feel like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? But in the midst of all of that, you can just be reassured that everything, that's why it's so important that you do this walk with God, because life is in seasons. Life is in seasons. Every season of this journey, if you can figure out the season that you're in, and you pay close attention to what you need and what is the 80%. That was a prayer that I started to pray at some point, that God will open my eyes to see the 80% in this season. What is the most important things, so that I can invest in those things, because everything is an 80-20 rule. I mean, to see the 20% that will yield the 80%.
80%.
Yes. Even in motherhood, even in raising that child, even in raising each child, because what my 4-year-old needs is different from what Nate needs at this time. So I'm consistently praying that prayer. God, help me to see the 20%. What are the things that are non-negotiables for him in this season, so that I invest in it, and then I can relax and leave the rest to him to take care of, because you cannot do it all. But the only way that you can be able to do it all is when you see what is important, you prioritize it, you focus, and create systems and structures that will help you just to leverage the things that you need to do per time. Do you get?
Yeah.
So that's really what I would say. That's really what I would say.
Wow, mothers, your well-being is very important, not just for today, but for the future, even for the children that you want to pour in everything into them. Because like she said, you can't give what you don't have. And what she said is very, very important. So that self-development is very, very key. You know why? We have children nowadays that the way they think very fast. And I know they kind of like my children, they come back and be telling, in fact, sometimes I feel so good and proud, because they come back and say, Mommy, what you were telling us the other day, do you know that was what they were teaching us in class today? And I was like,
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Can you imagine? And I'll say, but I've been telling you people, but you didn't know. There are even sometimes my children, when we tell our children, my husband and I tell them some of the things, maybe for the stage where they are in, they will be looking at us like, and we'll say, don't you know we went to school too?
Exactly.
Like recently, my son was talking about periodic table, and everything like that. And so I was now telling him, he said, did I have a song that I used to learn it because there are so many and things. So if you are not ahead of them, or if you are not proactive, to be able to give them an answer, and that doesn't mean you will know everything, but there's this connection that your children will have when they know that, oh, Mommy and at least she understands what I'm saying. It's not as if I'm saying one thing and she's just blank. So our well-being is very, very critical, and we should not feel guilty. We should not feel guilty when we get to a point where we need to start taking courses. And COVID helped in making many of these things. So when they're in school, you could sign up for something you can do online to keep improving yourself. And don't feel that, oh, there is no need. There's a lot of need, because they will also need you as their cheerleader. They will also need you when they are aspiring for great things, So what you are saying is very, very important. Very, very important. It got to a time, my daughter, she said, Mommy, okay, we hear that you said you decided not to take a paid job because you wanted to, take care of us as we're younger. And she was like, Mommy, see, we're already growing. Oh. She was, as in my daughter, she will be 11 this year. And she was saying, Mommy, yes. And she was saying, Mommy, just start getting ready because you will soon get your office, as in. So you can imagine, and she's also a daughter. So do you know that she's looking at me? In fact, there was a day she said she's going to be a homemaker. And I said, homemaker, why? She said, she said I should not worry that it will be a different kind of homemaker. I said, I was looking at her. So she talked about public speaking. She talked about writing because she writes. So that she should not worry that she just wants to give. So you see that she has looked at me, and because I said I gave her that attention, so she said she will still want to give her children that attention, but she will still be doing. So you can imagine. And I say, yes, I'll soon get that office space. And, this podcast, they virtually help me. When I'm struggling, my son will just be calming me down and say, don't worry, Mommy, the network will too.
That's a gift. That's such a gift. I'm telling you.
Our well-being and our self-development is very critical. Beyond even us, like Ugonne has said, it's even for the children, because the children are looking up to us. They are like, we are like,
it is a gift.
Yes,
if you're
we are their role model. Yeah. So
exactly, that was what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Like just imagine that your mother is your first midwife, your first role model, your first mentor. That's my goal in life.
Yeah.
I want to be that.
Yeah.
I want my children to be, I want to at some point also be that for them, to be models, midwives, to help them, to coach them, to not just for other people, but for my own children. And you can never be that if you're not invested in yourself from the beginning. So we have to prioritize ourselves.
Wow, definitely. This beauty of motherhood, I never saw it coming like this, but I'm enjoying the journey. But our time is running out. So Ugonne, it's time for you to tell our listeners about what you do online. Share with us. I know I'll add it to the show notes, but just tell our audience what you do online, your book, your platforms, how they can connect with you. So this is your time now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, and thank you, Ifeoma, for having me here. And I really appreciate the work that you're doing. You're doing such an amazing job. But for me, where you would find me actively on Instagram or Facebook, I have my books. You can find my books on. I'm an author of 3 books at this point. There's one free ebook. There is the birthing, and there is the birthing visions declarations as well. You can find these on my seller page if you want to get an ebook or free the e-copy of it. And the links are in my Instagram bio or my Facebook. You can definitely find that online. Everywhere I am, Ugonne Ann. If you type Ugonne Ann, you'll be quick to find me.
Okay. Are you on Facebook too?
I'm on Facebook, yes. I'm active on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. So do you have courses? I want you to tell our listeners about your courses or what you do.
Okay.
Maybe there's a woman that is listening to how you have been telling us about seeing the beauty in motherhood, and she might want to connect with you. So please share.
So one of the things that I was able to launch last year, towards the end of last year and into this year, was the birthing boot camp. Because of the way that my journey has been, and how the transformational journey that I've experienced in becoming an author, and what God started to open my eyes up to with regards to the fact that He is calling a lot of women to become scribes in that sense. And that is just partnering with Him the way that I did to write. Because prior to writing this book, I'm not going to tell you that I'm a guru in this. It was all revelation. It was all revelation. And I know the kind of impact that it has had on literally strangers, people that I don't know. And it is that journey that actually brought me to this podcast in that sense. So that's something that I am passionate about, and I want other people to experience, especially mothers. And through the Birthing Bootcamp, which is a 3-month bootcamp for those that want to partner with God to write, to just write something, download something and write. There is a framework that God has given me and shown me that you can sit with in that 3 months to conceive and to produce and write a book, a newsletter, a script, and just partner with him in that sense. So it's a 3-month, it's a cohort based program. So we ended the first cohort, and if you follow me online, or preferably if you are signed up to my newsletters, you will be able to get all the gist when the next cohort is going to be running.
Okay.
So yes, find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook.
I'll put your links.
Put the links.
Okay.
Right.
I'll put your links.
Be awesome.
Yes, I'll put your links in the show notes. Thank you so much, Ugonne. So what will be your parting words? And we want to say happy birthday. Ugonne's birthday is tomorrow.
Thank you.
And then we celebrate mothers on Sunday. So
thank you.
What will be your parting words to make mothers see that there is beauty in motherhood, and how can they be vulnerable even in our imperfection, knowing that we might not always get it right? So your parting words.
So I would just say that nothing about you is an accident or a coincidence, even in this season of motherhood. So I believe that God is the one that has handpicked each and every one of us for this unique assignment of raising a child for him, and also becoming the person along the lines that he wants you to become. So I would just say that you should stay strong. Don't look down on yourself. Don't take for granted this season of your life. It is beautiful. If you're confused, if you're thinking that you don't know what to do, I would always advise that you should go take this simple question. This is a question that I asked along the lines for every time and every season. What do you desire that I do for you, Lord? What do you desire? It is this question that actually started this journey of the woman that I am today and I am becoming. And I would like you to, if you're still having questions, you can always ask and begin to ask God to help you to see the area that he wants you to man for him, to show you what the vision for your life, to open you up to what he has written concerning you. Because everything, there is a book in heaven. There is literally a book in heaven written full of what you have been sent here for. And vision is your ability to catch that thing per time that he has written concerning you. So go to your Father and ask him those questions, and I trust the Holy Spirit that he will answer you even in this season. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ugonne. In fact, I'm already thinking of calling you again very, very, very soon. It's like we shouldn't end the episode. Thank you so much. As she was talking, I was writing. In fact, as she was writing, I was already thinking of another topic that I can talk about. So me too, I'm already catching my own from above, as she has said we should ask God, to show us the reason why he has placed us where he has placed us. There is no accident. Even when it doesn't look palatable, it's not going the way we think. And I think when we have a change of mindset, a change in the way we are seeing things, we'll begin to enjoy the beauty of motherhood. Thank you, Ugonne, and looking forward to seeing you or having you again on At Home with Ifeno. God bless you.
God bless you. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day too. Thanks for joining us this week on At Home with Ifeno. Check us out on Instagram at ifeno17. As always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. See you next in 2 weeks' time.